We are extremely fortunate to have so many dedicated member states and partners committed to supporting our work. We are equally fortunate to have the support of those who have been so moved by IFAD's mission that they wish to lend their voices and celebrity to the cause. We have met two of them already. You'll now meet one more, our final speaker. Mrs. Sabrina Elba is a Canadian actress, activist and model of Somali descent. She has featured on pages of Vogue, In Style and Harrods magazine, my gosh. And recently she started as presenter for ITV's Good Morning Britain show. Sabrina is a passionate advocate for empowerment of rural women and girls. She and her husband, renowned actor Idris Elba, recently visited an IFAD-supported project in Sierra Leone, an experience that I think furthered their resolve to work for change in rural communities and to support IFAD's replenishment. Sabrina, please join me on the stage.
Thank you, Marie. I'm a bit taller.
Yeah.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it is a pleasure to be with you here today, and an absolute honor. I think we can all agree we've just heard some very powerful statements and calls to action. It is clear that everyone in this room recognizes the importance of IFAD's work to end poverty and hunger, and the urgency of this year, 2020, and this replenishment, IFAD 12, to the lives of tens of millions of people. I am here today because my husband and I believe that no woman, no man, and no child should be forgotten. Idris and I weren't born in Africa. I'm a Canadian and he's a Brit, but my roots are in East Africa and his roots are in West Africa. And we were drawn to IFAD's mission to end poverty and hunger because our hearts are forever in the continent of Africa. So this year, we are taking action and championing IFAD and zero hunger, because we fully believe small-scale farmers have the potential to feed the world and need to be at the forefront of the world's attention. My mom is from a very small, remote community in Somalia. She didn't have shoes until she was 7, and I tease her about that, not to make her feel bad, but to remind her of how far she's come. She's a prime example of any other mother in the world who has had to struggle. She made sure we knew our native land, and she took us back to Somalia whenever she could afford it. It became an important part of my identity. I immediately fell in love with the beauty of the land, the rural areas, the termite mounds, the camels, the sun and the warmth of the people, the pastoral lifestyle that my mother lived. These experiences seem a world away from our lives now in LA and Vancouver and London and now here in Rome. But it helped us see how all of us are connected. I don't know if you can tell, but my mom is a big influence in my life. She understands the importance of agricultural development when you depend on the land to survive. She knows how a simple well and water irrigation can change lives. And she knows the power and strength of women in rural Africa to overcome adversity and to cope with everything life throws at them. It was my mother who first told Idris and I about IFAD, this great organization helping poor rural people that we needed to get involved with. So we went to Sierra Leone. And we were truly touched and blown away by the impact IFAD is having on the ground. We met with the farmers whose lives have been transformed by financial loans, and training in rice production. We met with community leaders who told us that they like IFAD because IFAD stays the course, and that the community banks and projects kept running, even when every other development agency had left rural areas during Ebola. Now that's something. But what really touched my mind and what really touched my heart was when I talked to the woman at the IFAD project. I met Aissatou, a rice farmer who had 4 children, not so different from my mom who had 5. Her husband couldn't take the pressure of looking after the family, and with no work and no future, he left. Not only that, her whole community had been hit hard by climate change. Rural communities like Aissatou's have a very small carbon footprint, but they are paying the consequences of problems all of us in this room, everyone, created. Luckily for her, Aissatou and her village became part of the IFAD Smallholder Commercialization Program. Aissatou got the tools, the education, and the funding so that she and her village could transform swampland into rice fields and produce better quality rice. Women's empowerment starts with economic empowerment, because when you have money, you have options. You can feed your family, you can send your children to school. Of course, Aissatou was still in a lot of pain, but she was thankful, and she had hope for her children and her children's future. She's not alone. There are 1.7 billion rural women and girls. They all need hope. On almost every development indicator, rural women do worse than men. Poverty, hunger, lack of education, no land rights. These are all barriers that hold rural women back and deprive them of hope. IFAD projects show that it doesn't have to be that way. Ladies and gentlemen, I am here today because Idris and I are committed to not leaving anyone behind. We are committed to giving a voice to the women and men who cannot lobby for themselves because they live in remote and rural areas, far from the media and far from their capitals. But we need your help. We can't change policy, but you can. We can't invest in IFAD, but your governments can. And we can all of us raise our voices and speak out on behalf of the poorest rural people who are too often forgotten and left behind. I hope you can see it is clear that IFAD projects make a difference. They can help communities adapt to climate change. They can help farmers access water, training, and resources. And they can give hope to women who feel abandoned and forgotten so that they can build a better lives for themselves and for their children. We are all connected. We are all global citizens. Global problems such as climate change and hunger do not respect man-made borders. And our response must also be global. When people and nations prosper, we all benefit. Investing in the future of rural people is an investment in our own future too. It isn't just changing a life. It's changing a world. This year, with your support and the world's awareness and action, we can change everything. Thank you.
We'll show the video, huh? Thank you so much, Sabrina. I think we even have a little video with your husband. Let's have a look at that one.
Hello, Excellencies and distinguished governors. My name is Idris Elba, and this is my lovely wife, Sabrina. As you know, global hunger is on the rise. Rural communities and farmers around the world are struggling to produce enough good food, and climate change is about to make this scenario even worse.
In Africa, as we speak, the continent is suffering its worst hunger crisis in more than a decade. It is mothers who can't afford healthy food and children not getting the nutrients they need. It is fewer kids in schools and nations that are being held back from moving forward.
Now, it doesn't have to be this way. Governments have the power to choose what to fund, and the people have the power to prioritize what matters. Governors, we are proud to partner with IFAD and help ensure this replenishment is a success and reaches the most vulnerable. But we need your help. We need your voice. 2020 and this replenishment is our year to make a difference. This year, with greater investment and more ambitious commitments, IFAD can help more than 100 million of the most vulnerable people and farmers raise their incomes, grow more food, and move out of poverty.
In Sierra Leone, we saw the difference a simple agricultural investment can make in changing a life. We met a woman like Khadija who received training in rice and production and can now send her children to school. We met a father who went from being on the brink of poverty and hunger, but through receiving a financial loan, could buy a plot of land and start a small farming business. He used those funds to take care of his family. You have the power to make a difference. Please, go back to your capitals and help make the case for investment to your world leaders on the urgent need to invest more globally in agriculture and rural communities through IFAD.
Excellencies, my message to you is simple. It is time to step it up and fight rising hunger differently. We will be with you all the way, celebrating those governments who step up and double their pledges to agriculture through IFAD 12. It all starts now. We're investing more in rural people, our food, and our planet. Thank you. Peace.
Thank you so much to Sabrina, and thank you also to your husband. Thank you so much to all the speakers that have been a part of this little session. Your words have inspired us, they have informed us, and I think we are even stronger, convinced that we need to go out there and do the job. All of us in this room has a job to do. We have a big job to do. Let us not leave our shared commitment to building a world without extreme poverty and hunger as a dream. Let us make it, quite simply, a reality, because it can be done. Let's step up for IFAD's 12th replenishment as one step in that direction. Thanks to all of you.